then obviously, I wanna just talk about the Stewie stuff as well. The scale of Stewie's stats are far greater than
Hold up. Let me explain who Stewie is first for people.
Yeah.
So if people don't know who Stewie is, he's a famous North American player. There are not very many North American players who have had his level of skill and his longevity within the scene. He's not really that active in CS2 right now, but he's very famous because he was one of the players on Cloud9 who won the major and then went on to play
Team
with
Liquid
Fallen. Team Liquid and did very well on Team Liquid. So you have to understand that in a Counter-Strike scene that is effectively dead in North America, he is one of the all-time heroes. So he is very popular, very famous, considered very skilled, and has a great legacy, right, Thorin? How would you categorize his level of stardom?
He's not actually that great a player, like, individually. Like, in the early days, he was a real prospect first couple of years, a la a Shroud, if people remember that. And then actually what he basically did in the rest of his career is he was like a talisman, like journeyman type player on the top team. So when he won the major with Cloud9, I wouldn't say he was the best player of their team. He was probably the third best player or something. When he won with Team Liquid, he was actually considered sort of like the final piece that like did all the dirty work so then the stars could shut. So essentially to me, look, I would just say it that way. He's just been, he has a very decorated resume. He won a Grand Slam and a major, but also he was someone who was like iconic in all of his teams. So he wasn't necessarily always the best player, but there's a reason why everywhere he went at one point in time, seemingly success followed. So I would say pretty sweet. He is easily, like, I would say he is the most popular North American player, even in spite of all that. Like, I think he is more popular than like Elysian Twister. I think we're better at the game, but I would say along with his success, he also coupled it with like branding elements like the smoke criminal and what up bitch and all that. You know, he had a lot of like angles that if you were like a wrestling promoter, you'd love this character.
Yeah.
Be your favorite one.
Yeah. And also as well, I mean, just to testify to how popular he actually is, Monte, just to give you some sort of sense of scale. Keep in mind, he hasn't played since Evil Geniuses, and he even had a stint where he tried to get into Valorant.
That was years ago, by the way. Now.
Yeah. So he was still, I think, like in 23 or 24, he was still in the like top 20 most viewed Liquipedia pages. They publish like the most popular players and the most clicks, and Stewie2k was still up there. And obviously when he came back, it was last year, was it, for Dallas?
Yeah, last July.
Yeah. And they ended up winning the tournament. Obviously that gave him a huge resurgence in popularity, which, you know, just Stewie things, he sort of pissed it away. But anyway,
but so, also, look, it has to be said before the story starts, Stewie has had a lot of money. Like, he was getting paid massive amounts of money, especially
from salaries
on
he'd have had
EG.
Millions, literally. Yeah, of course.
I mean, EG was famously like they bought out like the NRG team, and then they were paying those guys a lot of money, and he should have won a lot of prize money as well for his success. He had a long career, and he was on major teams that, I mean, he was paid millions of dollars in salary, and then also
for an NACS player, was at one point in time one of the biggest streamers of the players, as far as I know. When he was a top pro, if he turned a streamer, he'd definitely get good numbers.
Had a huge resurgence as well. You know, was getting like 20,000 views after he won Dallas with G2 as a stand-in, and like I say, he's essentially frittered it away. Like Stewie's really sad, right? It's a sad story. I've talked a lot about this. I published a video on my YouTube channel 3 years ago, and it was called "This Guy Needs an Intervention," and I meant it. It wasn't hyperbole. I really liked Stewie. Like, we obviously got to know each other during E-League. Not saying we were super tight, but we would.
His rise came along with E-League, if people remember. Like people like you and Moses, that's why you're connected to his story, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I could see this was like a kid, like, you know, probably, you know, we all know, like he told us, you know, it was a matter of record. He'd been bullied at school and stuff like that, and he was estranged from his family. Because
he had one of those families where like they don't want you to play video games, Monte, and compete, etc. So he also had that issue going for him. Yeah.
And so seeing him rise and get to the top, and then eventually win a major, that was like, you know, we all felt really happy for this kid, like really. And unfortunately, you know, I like, he ended up getting into it with me on Twitter because I said, oh, G2 winning a tournament with a stand-in that played to the same level as Hooksy should be the end of Hooksy's career on G2. And lo and behold, they did drop him after the event. Stewie, for some reason, interpreted that as me insulting him and then turned it around and said he was defending his teammates, of which Hooksy wasn't. He never played with him. So I don't know. And he went into it. He went on his stream. It said some pretty outrageous and out-of-pocket stuff about me and was like, he said, bro, the things I've heard about him behind the scenes, bro, he's like a real nasty person. All this. And I was like,
I always love to tell people, drop it.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah.
Do it. We'll both show it. You show yours, I'll show mine. Go on.
Yeah.
Drop it.
Yeah.
They never do. I know. It's bizarre. They never have any.
But listen, I have gone through a bit of a spiritual reawakening, and I hold no animus towards Stewie for that.
All right, what's our Lord Zenu taught you?
Right, well, listen, I admit my thetans are through the fucking roof right now. I am giga thetan.
Suffocating in thetans.
Yeah. Just so much volcanic ghosties.
He's traded up 5 red thetans for a skin.
Now I have gloves made of pure thetans.
Exactly.
But anyway, no, I realize, like, it's very so one of the things that happened is, obviously, okay, just to put the nuts and bolts in, it all came out because Stewie essentially owed 32k, or it was initially reported as 25k because the memes came out, Stewie 25k, lol, right, and we were doing that, and then I think it went up to 32, and then there was some other people came out, and then it was reported XQC had given him skins.
Hold up. So the first thing that came out was on Twitter was a guy who I guess is well known
called
in the skin
Mittal.
scene.
Yeah, he's a known skins dude. Yeah.
So he basically was selling. He was buying skins.
No.
He was selling skins.
No, he basically. I think it was like a loan. It was a loan to Stewie.
Oh, okay.
What triggered this all off? He loaned Stewie some skins, whether it was just for use or whether it was a temporary loan, and then ultimately he hadn't got him back. So he went public. He went and told everybody that shortly after other people started coming out.
He released like dozens of screenshots of chat logs,
which were excruciating to read, by the way. I did read them all. And look, it eventually transpired XQC had given him skins that he apparently hadn't given back. Stewie went on OwnerPixel's stream. This happened when I was at a CS event. There was one night where I watched 2 hours of OwnerPixel interviewing Stewie2k, the Frost Nixon for skin cells. And it was a hard listen. Stewie was tying himself up in knots all the time. He would say one thing, it would be immediately contradicted, and OwnerPixel was saying to him someone in the chat said, why didn't you just own up to all of this? And he's like, bro, I've got nothing to own up to. I am taking full accountability. He was in fact not, because there's still more and more that hasn't really come out. And and I've talked to a few people, he owes some people money and stuff. And it's just sad. And anyway, he has become essentially the poster boy for a problem that I'm going to solve live on this show for everybody, right? But he's become the poster boy now for it, and I think it's going to be a critical hit to his reputation. And I sat back and I watched all of the slop tubers serve up video after video after video, and then I was getting DM'd. Richard, where is your video? You hate Stewie, don't you? You want dunk on. By the way, never hated Stewie a day in my life. Just want the best for the kid. I think he's I don't even think he's 28 yet. He's been out, and he was such a prodigious talent and a major winner, and he can't get on a team, and he's not good enough to hang in tier 1. And I would love him to get back to that. Anyway, when's your video coming? Oh, you must want to dunk on Stewie. You're gonna fucking wreck him. I can't wait. Oh, your videos. I love it when you do takedowns. I'm not going to do a takedown video on Stu. I'm not going to do it. What I will do is, when I get round to doing it, I'm going to create a video talking about how you can avoid falling into the pitfalls Stewie has fallen into. That's more productive and positive. And equally, behind the scenes, I am desperately trying to connect Stewie to someone who can help him. I'm not going to profit off someone's despair and misery. I'm not going to do that. There'll be, put it this way, not some kid that got in over his head with gambling debts. Yes, he's done bad things. Yes, he's lied. Yes, he's essentially taken money from people. If you want to call it tantamount to theft, you can do that. Addiction does strange things to people. I think he doesn't realize he's got the problem he's got. He thinks he doesn't. He says he doesn't even gamble anymore. And it's like, I think you're lying. But I know people that therapists and stuff like that. And I've took my time and I've reached out, and hopefully I can connect him to someone who can help. Whether he wants to do that or not, I'm going to try. I'm not going to just make a video dunking on him, get 50k views, $200 on YouTube, and then walk away from it. I think that's like that's I don't know. That's not my vibe anymore, man. I'm like not about that shit. He must also. I think the implication is he's probably pretty desperate at this point in time. If after, as we say, the success of his career and the huge monetary rewards, he is now devolved into taking skins from people who are well known. I mean, the skin guy is at least well known within Counter-Strike, but to borrow skins from XQC, one of the largest streamers in the world, who could put you on blast in an instant, is crazy. Well, the thought process is obviously he won't miss it. And they're right. I mean,
By the way, that also made XQC look so dumb. They say, I think he didn't give me one scan. I'd have to look it up. Mate, you're making it again seem like you're just so rich. I think I left a.
He does have $100 million deal.
Anyone know where? But that looks bad too. Mate. Yeah, that also looks like you're all just idiots on a different scale.
Yeah, which is fair comment. But I think ultimately for me, I like. The full scale of what's going on with Stewie, I don't think is known yet. And on the Onapixel stream, he said that the reason he got into debt was his family had got into debt and he was paying money back to his family. And I'm sad to say I don't believe that. Knowing what I know, it doesn't ring true. And it is something quite classically, because I've been around a lot of addicts in my lifetime. One of the things a lot of addicts will do to rationalize their behavior to other people is, it's not for me. I'm not doing it for me. Yeah, I'm not.
If you remember, in League of Legends, Peter Zhang on TSM claimed some of that stuff was for his grandmother or something like that.
Grandmother's
by the way, it's also a great initial point. Here's the problem. You'll never get away with it long term, because if you've done something big enough, people will investigate it. But the other reason why, in the short term, that's going to work is the fact that we don't typically have direct access to their family is another layer of abstraction, isn't it? Yeah. Then you just push it off into some mystery box of that's my family shit. Yeah. So, I think you never get away with it in the long run. People will eventually find out, surely.
Yeah, I mean, it just looks to me like, you make some impulsive decisions, they come at a cost. I'll say this as well, and this is probably a bit more in keeping with the Richard Lewis everybody knows and loves. In chat logs and on stream and on the Onapixel interview, he apparently has a skins sponsor who he's totally thrown under the bus with this. So, I mean, that relationship has to be terminated, certainly, because if you want to be represented as being a responsible skin, you can't be giving money or skins to this cat now. That's kind of crazy. That's just bad for business, bad for the branding. And now apparently he's got another one, and I don't know. The bottom line is, I think this is the part that I've always really hated about the skins culture, is when it intersects with the pro scene. And there is no way anybody should be loaning skins to pros. It shouldn't be allowed.
Also, these guys have enough money even to buy the most expensive skins on their own. That's what's outrageous too. Is that the big pros can afford a $20,000 skin?
I mean, sure. Look. I don't understand. I mean, to me, it's a bit like cuckoldry. I don't understand that fetish, but it exists, so I guess it's the thing. I don't know why you're use my skin. Use it. Shoot them in the face with my skin. Oh, that's so good. I don't know why that's a thing, right? I don't know, right? That's not, but it obviously is for some people. But as I said, first of all, if you know anything, and I used to teach this on my course. It's one of the first lessons you learn when you come on the sports integrity course, is how the mechanics of match fixing and corruption essentially works. You have to get the players on the hook, and the corruptor will do this, and one of and obviously a lot of people are obsessed with skins and having a good inventory, and look at all my fucking shiny knives and rare fucking AWP skins and gloves and all this stuff. And so ultimately, when you loan people those skins, my worry is always, what's the quid pro quo? Because that mechanically is how you would corrupt a lot of people. By the way, I know for a fact There are people that have borrowed skins from heavy gamblers, and they have thrown matches that, you know, no doubt those people have placed bets on. I'm talking about going back to the CS Lounge days. And so obviously nobody got punished for it, but I know who they are. I know who they are. Some of them are retired, some of them are still going, right? A lot of people got away with a lot of shit in that era, and one of the things that would happen is the big heavy bettors that were betting on all the rigged games, they would obviously have all of the skins. They would then use those skins to introduce themselves to pros, and then they would, at the very least, gain information about what's going on behind the scenes. Oh, I heard a rumor your star player broke up with his girlfriend, right? I'm going to bet on the other team. Or it would just be, want to throw a game for me? You can keep those skins if you do. And so that's why it should be shut down.
More cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.